Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sasha Reade, and tonight I wanted to have some fun with being creative with what I had in my office. I got reminded and inspired again about a technique I did probably 8 years ago now. I've got this watercolor card here, which is from Arteza. I'll link it down below. I basically get my packs of watercolor card and I cut them down to be card fronts. Now each pack gets me 128 card fronts, so it's fantastic value for money to pick up a pad of paper and cut it to make your own cards. Now these are all my clear blocks. I do have a few that are a bit bigger, but these are the ones that I thought I would use today. I'm going to start with my Distress Oxides. I've got Seedless Preserves, Picked Raspberry, and Carved Pumpkins, and Salty Ocean. So I'm just going ahead and using my blocks like I kind of would a stamp. This is not a technique that I created. This is definitely an oldie but a goodie. So what I've done is I have sprayed my cardstock in advance, and then I'm going ahead and spraying my block as well to wet my block so that I can then apply it to the cardstock. Now this time I've not wet the cardstock, I've only wet the block. Just for comparison, you can see the difference there with the amount of ink that spreads. These are Distress Oxides, if I haven't mentioned that already. So they are like a hybrid ink. They blend and mix well and react really nicely to water. So what I thought I would try and do is have a little bit of fun and just kind of do a block pattern. And so I was just inking up my blocks, spraying them, putting them down on the cardstock, and just kind of having a go and playing around. One of the best things about crafting is just getting out your supplies and just playing. And it's Saturday night, and I was given some free time just to hang out and do whatever I feel like, and so this is what I felt like doing. I saw something in a magazine somewhere that just reminded me of this technique. I think it was a bit of pattern paper or something, and I thought, oh my goodness, I've not done this in so long, and I thought I would just have fun and just get creative and play around. So I'm just applying these 4 colors here. I was going to say 3, but it's 4 colors. And I'm literally just inking them up, spraying them, and oh my goodness, you should see my desk. It is covered in ink. I should have been spraying my blocks over a box. That would have been a lot wiser, because you do get this fine mist of color, and it does kind of spread around the place quite easily. But never mind. I will try and just give everything a bit of a clean. I've got a microfiber cloth there that I'm using, and I'm just wiping off the blocks. It all just comes off super dead easy. Okay, so I wanted a circle. I looked everywhere for a flat circle. Nothing in my kitchen is flat. You can see here I'm trying to get a nice total circle, but it's not working because everything's got like a ridge. I looked at every cup, every measuring jug, everything. This is my blender thingy. It's one of those like power mixer blenders. It's fantastic. I love it. Really quick smoothies. But I thought I'm just going to have a go with this. I wanted something circular. So I only sprayed the bottom on this one, and I thought, no, it's not moving enough. I'm not getting enough going on. So at this point I decided to give it a bit extra water on my card. Again, this is on my watercolor card. I cut it all down to sizes that I thought would be fun to work with. Now I do go ahead and make a whole bunch off screen as well. I didn't want to bore you with too much going on the camera. So I have got some 6x6, those ones are I think 4x4, and some standard card front panels. So now I'm going ahead and I'm applying my ink using blender brushes to my block. This just makes sure that I don't get any of the ink smudging onto my ink pads if I were to do some swiping with them. So then again, I'm spraying the block and placing it down. I do wait probably about 30 seconds to a minute or so for that ink to kind of soak in a bit, and then I give it a wipe off with my microfiber cloth. So now I'm moving on to some different ink pads. These are dye ink pads from Stampin Up. I kind of tried to go with the same colors. I was really feeling bright and happy and wanted some bright and happy colors, so I decided to go with these bold ones. These are reactive with water like the last ones, but they kind of absorb a lot quicker and a lot more than the Tim Holtz Oxides do. So all I'm doing again is I am inking up my blocks and just stamping them down and getting nice squares of color. It is very dark when I'm doing it now. It does dry a bit lighter, but I do like how vibrant they are. They seem to blend nicely together, and I just love the outcome. I did go ahead and do that one in a large square as well, which you'll see at the end when I show you all my samples. So here's my swiping across my block using the brushes. I just wanted to share with you sort of the different looks that you can get between oxides and dye inks, and just how you can use them both, and they both work really, really nicely for this technique. Now this is all about building backgrounds and having really good fun with whatever is in your stash or whatever you find in your kitchen. And it's just about getting creative. I find once you've got a background done, it's quite simple then to pull together the front of the card. And I've got some really nice solid image stamps that I'm going to share with you that you've probably seen in a lot of my videos recently, and they just work really well. So here are the Distress Oxides all dried. This is what they look like when they're all finished. I don't give you a kind of big view of the dye ink ones, but you will see the samples that I made with them. So I'm starting out with this Apple Blossom stamp here. I haven't used it properly yet, and it's the Sunflower stamp set. I'll do my best to link everything down below, but this one just kind of, I don't know, it shouted like flower. And so I found this beautiful sunflower flower, and I'm using my stamp platform to stamp my image on the top. And it's got all this sort of layers. So you got the center layer and then even the more of the center than that. So I thought I would do this one in this bright pink. I'm using a pigment ink because these are silicone stamps, so it's nice and easy to apply it on. I'm taking the black ink and I'm kind of using a small blender brush just to kind of dab it onto the edge. So this is the one I stamped in pink, and now I'm dabbing the edge with a black to kind of give it a bit more dimension, and it kind of helps blend it into the flower that I stamped already in black. And this is the VersaFine Onyx Black ink. It's my favorite black. It's black ink. It's so good. I use it all the time. Again, I'm going with that pink VersaFine or Watercolour, I think is what it's called. And I've also got a brown, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, and I'm applying brown around the edges of that inner one so that there's a bit of definition between the two. My next card, I'm using my new favorite stamp set. I'm a bit annoyed. I have ordered about 5 or 6 more from this set, and we have some massive issues going on with our post at the moment. We are getting post about once every 3 weeks if we're lucky. So mine are just stuck in the post. And so I'm working with the same stamp sets over and over. I will have some new ones coming in soon. This is another one of my favorites that I've been using a lot lately. And I just put the picture of it there on the screen for you. I'll link it down below. I think it's currently out of stock, but you can always request on Craft Stash to be notified when something is back in stock. So I do get emails when I've put in things that I wanted to find that were out of stock, and I do get the emails to let me know that they've come back in stock. I'm going ahead again and doing the same thing I did on the last flower, and I'm using a little blender brush and adding some dark purple to the edges of my butterfly. This is a technique I always forget about, is you can add color and add dimension just by adding a little bit of color to that stamped image that you've already stamped, but doing it in a shade darker. So it's really quite fun. I've got my Arteza roller ballpoint pen. If you are looking for a black pen that is really nice, really smooth, really easy to work with, and really, really nice to write with, I'm telling you, these are the best pens ever. I'm a bit of a pen addict, and I have loved these. My husband has started asking me where they are if we can't find any. I'm going to buy my next box soon. We love them. We use them for everything. And they're so good for doing that technique of drawing your own border. You'll see it again in a minute. I'll use it again. This is the birthday stamp set that is from one of my favorite stamp sets from Sam Colcutt, I believe. Oh, here are my dye ink samples. These are all of them. I do end up showing you. I forgot I was doing that. So those are all the dye ink samples that I had completed. Now, I'm moving on. I will link all these stamp sets down below, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of jumping around. I keep forgetting what's coming up next in my video. So I've got this happy, and it comes with a die and the stamp set, and then it comes with all those little words as well. And I haven't used it yet, so I thought I would do that. I found that I needed to die cut it out first and then stamp it. So having a stamp platform is dead handy for doing this technique. I've got the Tim Holtz one and I absolutely love it. It's nice and big and really easy to work with. So I've die cut out my letters, and now I'm stamping them in my Versamark or VersaFine black ink, and it was really easy with the stamp platform to do this, and I love the effect of it when you're finished. You've got that beautiful white border but a really nice dark black happy. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp birthday. So before I stick down the happy, I stamped my birthday onto my background. And then I'm going to prop my happy up using some foam. This foam tape is from Alina's shop on AliExpress. I'll link it down below. It's my favorite ever 5mm wide foam tape. It's very sticky. It's perfect for shaker cards. And I love it for things like this, which you need a nice thin tape for. So here is the next card that I was telling you about, where I'm using my Arteza pens. I love them. They are so dark and so nice to work with. And all I'm doing is just drawing 2 lines on all the edges. And I'm going to stamp one stamp right in the middle, my Just For You, from one of my other favorite stamp sets I've been using a lot lately. And I just like the simplicity of this card. I will mount this onto a black card base and then put a piece of white in the middle. But these are all my finished card fronts that I have finished tonight. I will add them all to card bases and put them in my little pile of to give away. This has got some of those little adhesive dots on them. And this one I did with just a nice flower stamp set that I had in my stash. All the strip sentiment stamps are from Tailored Expressions. I will do my best to link them down below. There's a shop in the UK that now sells them, which is very exciting. But these are my finished cards, and I'm so happy with them. And it just took me one Saturday evening, sitting down and playing with water and ink. So I hope you had fun and enjoyed this today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do check out the description box if you want to see where any of this stuff has come from. Please drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Take care. Bye.